Blessings, witches. Welcome to the Witches Bone channel. If you guys are new here, make sure that you subscribe. Well, hello, guys. I wanted to come over here and talk to y'all. And believe it or not, this channel is actually a little break from my main channel, which I am hoping with several workings that I am doing that we can free that channel, because basically on my main channel, if you came from the old channel, because the name of that channel has changed so many times. It was Jamila the Heretic, and now it's Jamila the Traditional Witch. It's changed a few times, but I think that pretty much what ended up happening is that um, religious men decided that they were going to use me as an example. And they've been doing it a lot and have been going through hell trying to use me as some kind of example. And they just don't have the right to do that. And, there's no spiritual right, there's no legal right that they ever had to do that. So when I come over here, I feel like I am not at war and that there's no drama, because they pretty much flock to that channel, and even some of them that have confusion and all of that stuff. So I wanted to come over here and help you witches out a little bit. Okay. Now, we've been talking about religion this morning, and religion to me is an indoctrinated belief, but it is also, to me, it feels like a phantasm, like that was created, and that phantasm doesn't like witches. Okay, let's just put it like that. And if you are a witch, you are a witch and you are bound by blood and spirit. And, they can talk all the stuff that they want to talk and act like, oh, well, you need to be saved by the Lord and all of that stuff. And it's just complete hogwash, if you ask me. um Honestly. So if you are a witch, you are bound by blood and spirit. And hello, Christian the emo witch, hello. And it's nothing that you have to fear. Like, they make it seem like if you don't practice that religion that you're going to die or something, or lose your life, which is really really sad that people would do that. And I've been studying and researching for years and years and years. Um, just the negative mental, psychological effects that religion can have, especially on kids, and then it typically will manifest in them as adults. So for me, I've been working on liberating myself completely from that religion. And I think that it's something that we all have to do at some point, because before we were even able to consent, we were sort of forced into those beliefs. And it's just really unfair. It really is. Because, if that's not your religion, it's not your religion. You don't have to feel bad, because a lot of you guys aren't even really benefiting from that religion. Just being alive itself doesn't mean that you're benefiting from that religion, because a lot of you guys feel as though you are either that you feel like you're like a living sacrifice for people to just use you and walk over you. It's not just women that feel that way, there's a lot of men that feel that way. And I believe that it's okay for us to have our own religious beliefs. You don't have to be disrespectful like they are. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. They really, really, really try to make you feel bad when in reality, those same people that are trying to make you feel bad and those same people that have a problem with you, trust me, they would have a problem with you no matter what your religious or spiritual beliefs are. They would. They would still have the same problem. I want to help us witches out as much as possible. And goodness gracious, it's ingrained so deeply. It's ingrained so deeply. It's ridiculous. So, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is Bible verses that they use to bind your witchy powers. Bible verses is what I want to talk about. And do you know that depending on the numbers, especially if you're somebody that's familiar with angel numbers or seeing a repeated series of numbers, um, then you know that some of those numbers, there's coding in those numbers. And then even when you throw your cards, even when you look at the tarot, um, there's certain messages that is encoded in that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the one that spirit has led me to is going to be Deuteronomy 28:15. And I think that that is probably the one that you're going to see manifesting, or the one that, especially when it comes to males, if you're a woman, that is going to be the one that they're going to use to bind your powers as a witch. They may use different ones, but I think that when you are a witch, what you need to be looking for is those numbers. And you can pretty much figure out which Bible curse that they used on you with those numbers. So, for example, with Deuteronomy 28:15, you must obey the Lord and these decrees and these commandments. And you didn't need that God to tell you to not kill somebody. You didn't need that God to tell you to not steal from somebody, for you to know that it was wrong for you to do those things. Somebody else needed it. Somebody else needed to be fear factored into not stealing from people and killing people. And I feel like it's really that simple. Okay. I think that this is an important step of freeing yourself and being sovereign from that religious system that it does a lot of harm. It's really a lot of misery. And when you decide to pretty much, I don't want to say indoctrinate yourself into witchcraft, but when you come out of the broom closet, you're especially already cursed, especially if you were raised in a church. So there's other Bible verses that may have been used, or maybe you yourself may have even done that. This is the reason why I don't practice hoodoo, because in hoodoo practices they use the Bible. And that's something that I for a long time have struggled with and had a problem with, because you can't pick and choose. You can't cherry pick. For example, a witch might be tempted to use Psalms 109 on her enemies. I wouldn't do it, because at that point, you are cursing yourself, because you're using things out of that Bible, but you're not following enough of the Bible and you're not doing the work and the footwork, especially if you are an eclectic witch and you practice traditional witchcraft, or if you practice something that predates Christianity. Okay. So, but I think that if someone wanted to dominate you, which is really, to me, it's what it's giving me, it's what religious men have been giving me my entire life, is control and domination, control and domination. They can use certain verses out of that Bible. They can write those verses over your name. They can read specific verses in the Bible every single day. Um, which is why I think that it's important to, pretty much bind that religion out of your life and bind it completely, binding them so that they can't do harm to you. Because to me, it's not even about their respect for God, because I don't feel that they know God like they think that they do. I think it's something else sinister involved. So you have to be very specific when you are reversing Bible curses. And so a lot of people, especially when you're getting flack and hatred from religious people, they typically cause a lot of chaos so that they can create chaos in the mind so that you can't think. And they love to do that. It's usually some kind of hoopla, drama, when in reality, they're using that Bible to try to do harm to you. And even though they are going to be cursed for doing that, just for what they're doing, because they are not even following the Bible. That's why I would never be Christian, because I know for a goddamn fact that I would not be able to follow all of that. All of that. No. In fact, I'm damned already. Okay. So I'm not worried about it. I would never, ever, ever even try, because what they are doing is they are judging you, and they're not even supposed to be doing that. They're hypocrites, and that energy, I cannot stand hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is a stronghold within itself. So you have to be very specific when you are reversing these Bible curses on you. And you want to be very specific as far as reversing it and freeing yourself and liberating yourself. This is something that I am going to start supplying to witches. That particular um, help. And I can even tell that very early on in my life, when I was young, when I was a kid, I was taught that if I deviated away from that religion, that I was going to die. And that's something that seems to come out of the subconscious, which is a subconscious blockage, when you do get rid of that energy, when you do break and release yourself from it. They have us convinced that we're going to suffer a physical death, a spiritual death. And that's not true if that's not a part of your belief system. And clearly it's not. Because if it was a part of your belief system, you would have never questioned it in the first place. And you need to question everything. So they pretty much have us under mind control. They taught us as kids. And I think that's child abuse. They taught us that as children, that we were going to die and all these horrible things was going to happen to us. And we know that that's not the truth. Religious people especially like to try to control and dominate witches for some reason. I think it's a perversion in their minds. And they will try to speak certain curses over us. That's just like 2 years ago when my father spoke a curse over me directly to me. I reversed it. The Bible verse that he spoke to me was, honor thy mother and thy father, and his days will be long. So basically, my father spoke death over his own daughter, which is awful, terrible, sad, and sorry. And then you wonder why all these parents are out here killing their children and then going into the courtroom before the judge and saying, oh, well, all praise be to God. Very, very sick and perverted. It is. But anyway, but I think that when it comes to women, a lot of these men that are trying to use the Bible on you, there are certain verses of the Bible. So when you get your readings, a spiritual reading, and I'm not going to do readings for the channel, but those are things that you need to be asking about. Everything else is a distraction. You need to be asking, what Bible verse has been spoken over me that is now a stronghold? If you are a witch, that's what you need to be asking. And the cards will tell you exactly what Bible verse was used to bind you. A lot of them, let's keep it real, a curse is a binding. Pretty much is what it is, okay? But there's different levels to it. A curse can be meant to take away your rights. A curse is not just meant for vengeance or revenge. A curse can be to bind you. And they are using the Bible to bind us witches just because we're practicing. Even though we know that it is temporary, because eventually a witch is going to figure out what to do. So this is something that, especially when y'all get y'all witches musings readings, we're going to look at that. And the tarot actually gives you a lot of clues. For example, the Hierophant. The Hierophant card speaks about religion completely. Okay. So a lot of y'all are wondering, why is it that when you say to yourself, and you could have grew up Christian, you could have grew up religious, and when you say to yourself, you say, you know what, I am going to do this, this is going to happen for me, and then it doesn't happen. One of your Christian colleagues could have already cursed you, and they're doing it based upon race and sex, mainly sex, your gender. That religion is very, very gender based. We need to figure out which Bible verse is really hurting us, and they are doing that. They are doing that. And yes, it does hold power, but only if you give it power. Hey, one EQ and John, hello. As a witch, I have perfect love and perfect trust in witchcraft and magic. Period. Period. Perfect love and perfect trust. I don't need anything else. I don't need anything else or want anything else as far as when it comes to my spiritual beliefs. Period. And make sure that you, especially if you already do your divination, find out what Bible curse has been used on you. Okay. And when you find that out, you have to actually, reversing a Bible curse to somebody that is considered to be pagan or even Satan, everything is in reverse. So for example, when I brought up Deuteronomy 28:15, that is to me the absolute worst that is in the Bible. And you got to understand that, oh my God, because you don't really know who's commanding you and who you're obeying. You don't really know. Whatever it is, it hates witches and it hates women and children and believes that people should be raped and murdered. So, this is one of the reasons why, to me, it loses its credibility with me. Completely credibility lost. But you have to be very specific. And I'm not going to be messing around with hoodoo anymore. I'd rather practice traditional witchcraft, even though there are certain things there's certain things that I've got going right now that are considered to be hoodoo. But I think that you're okay to do things that resemble hoodoo, but you don't necessarily have to play around with the Bible because I'm not playing around with it. Everything straight traditional witchcraft. No Bible verses. You know the saying, no weapons formed against me shall prosper. Not even going to use that anymore because I'm going to reword it. I'm not dealing with it at all because I already know what the deal is. If you are a witch, you have a totally different set of values and principles and spiritual beliefs, and that's just the end of it. It's just the end of it. And it's a huge stronghold. It is a source of chains that we were ultimately meant to be broken free from. And I've already waited too long, and all my hope is gone. Yeah, no, I'm done with it. This sick game that they play, it's very sick. Well, I'm not using that because I think that comes from the Bible. I don't want to use anything else from the Bible because I feel that if you use Bible verses, I feel that you have to do every like it's like you're a part of that, and I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be included in that. I don't. So that's why I'm done. I feel that they are hypocrites, and I feel that they are damned if they do and damned if they don't. And I feel that everybody has the right to walk away from that if they want. Yeah, I'd rather say, and no one yea do any harm to me if I'm gonna say anything. You know what I'm saying? Because it just seems like they're constantly at war with themselves, they're constantly at war with other people. They bring that war into people's lives. No, I am not going to practice Christian witchcraft. No, I'm not. And I feel perfectly safe and protected under Isis, the sun god Ra, and then my other deities that I'm very, very familiar with. Yeah, I've always felt that way. Growing up, I did go to church. I wasn't like strict, in the church. No. But I did go to church quite a few times as a child. And for me, I was given both sides. It was almost like there was a choice that I was given. And this path is what I choose. And if somebody else wants to choose the other path, then they have every right to do so. You know what I mean? And the rest of it, I'm just done with it. If you ask me, I feel like witches and a lot of people need protection from the Bible. And believe it or not, it's so much propaganda and so many lies out there to where they will even try to make it seem like, Christianity has taken over the whole world, and it actually hasn't, because I've actually spoken to a lot of different people that have never even heard of that in their country. They're like, who is that? What is that? You see what I'm saying? For me, I prefer to focus mind, body, and spirit on liberating myself from that. Do I feel that there's going to be some kind of physical death or something bad is going to happen? No, I don't. Something bad is already happening. Bad things have already happened. How can they say that when you look around in the world and all you see is bad shit happening? Stop it. I'm no longer convinced. I've never been convinced. I don't believe you. They're finding bodies of freaking toddlers just randomly somewhere. It's no thank you, you know? And then also being that religion has been responsible for enslavement for quite some time, which has been about what? Greed and money. Slavery was all about greed and money and domination. This is basically what it was about. And I feel that paganism, Wiccanism, even Satanism is a freedom, and it's love and it's peace and it's harmony. That's where I'm at with it. So I wanted to let y'all know that. Find out which Bible curses they use on you. You can find out from the cards. For example, if you're considered to be a pagan witch and maybe one of your Christian adversaries use Psalms 109 on you, you're going to see that in the cards, and you're probably going to have symptoms of that, which means that you're going to have anxiety and you can't sleep at night, and you're going to feel something in your spirit, which usually starts before the absolute hell comes into your life. Your spirit's trying to tell you something, you know? And there, believe it or not, there are a lot of people that are definitely afraid of their freedom. Especially if you're in the Black community or from the Black community, there are still Black people that are scared to be freed from slavery generationally. They are afraid of it literally, because they're like, what's out there? Okay, you remember that little white girl and people under the stairs? And they were holding her hostage, and that house wouldn't let her go outside. And when the little boy was trying to get her out of there, she stopped and she said, what's out there? He was like, come on, we're getting out. I'm getting you out. She backed up. She was like, what's out there? That's the same thing when it comes to Black people and them freeing themselves from all of their indoctrination. That's why, as a Black person, we still see this mind slavery. And it's not just mental, it's also physical. The physical enslavement of some of them, to where they can't step over the line and say, you know what? I'm free. I'm free now. Right? Not free in a sense to where, oh, you're dead. This is literally the way that it works, to the way that they take a hold of your mind, the way that religion holds the mind. And God loves us more than that. I believe that our true God loves us and would never treat us that way, would never, ever, ever do that. Do I believe that God cares about who you sleep with, who you have sex with? Nope, as long as it ain't no little children. As long as it ain't no little children. Otherwise, God don't care about who you have sex with. So a lot of the stuff that, I think it's all about controlling your sexual energy. I think it's all about controlling your power. I think it's all about control. And I think ultimately it's all about destruction. So for me, I don't even trust that God of the Bible. Whatever it was that was telling those men those things, I don't trust it. The one thing about it that irritates me is when I think about God, I think about the universe. I think about the universal. I think about the source of all, is how I look at God. They're trying to define God for us, and it sucks. And Christian, I had a conversation with Satan that was really pivotal last week. And Satan was created out of that religion. And he told me last week, he said, "You don't need me anymore. You're already liberated," is what he told me. And I said, "Well, Satan, you're my friend." Because he is. So I would never want to, separate that. I would never want to separate that because Satan came into my life at a time when everybody was abusing me. Everybody was attacking me. Everybody was trying to take away my rights and my freedoms and was trying to treat me like I was a freaking slave or like I was a bad person because I am helping people, because I am a witch. You know? And he told me, he said, "You don't need me anymore." He said, "You are, you know, my work with you is done." Now, that doesn't mean that, for example, what I've been talking to you guys about is a very, very good and kind demon called Fornius. Those of you that have people pitting judgment and false persecution in you or in your life, you might want to find out and research the demon Fornius, who has been in my life for quite some time and has been assisting me with all of the false persecution throughout the years. And finally, I had to recognize who he was. Okay. So y'all might want to research that. Okay, because they will try to put the stronghold of lies and deception around you. Now, do I believe that they are right? Nope. I think they're scapegoating. I will not have it. I think they're blame shifting, and I think that they're basically trying to do harm to us directly, just like literal direct harm to us. So Fornius would be the one that you need to work with. Yeah. You know, they do the most harm to people. And, I don't even think that they even realize it. I think that these people, a lot of them are they have a one-way ticket to hell. And that's why they want to make people's lives hell on this planet. Because you'll see them do it. You will see them lie with a straight face and then go and say, praise Jesus in the name of their lies against you, which makes no sense. What do you want, kitty? You hungry? You already fat. Do you want me to show people how fat you are, kitty? Look at how fat you are. Look at my fat cat, y'all. Look at her. Look how fat she is. And you trying to eat more. You hungry? You hungry? She has allergies, y'all. All right, I'll feed you. I'll give you some fresh water. Forneas will protect you as well. He's one of the only demons in the Goesha that is very highly protective, but you can't be dirty. He ain't gonna help you if you're not dirty. I'm sorry, if you dirty, he's not gonna help you. If you're not deserving, I know, ain't she fat? Okay, there you go. Look, and she immediately rejected it because this is what she wants. This is what my cat is obsessed with. Right here. Look at her looking at it. Look at her. Yeah, I know. Here. She will not touch her food unless I put her some of this on top of her food, which, goodness gracious, was a huge mistake. Because she started out eating her dry food with no problem, and now she will not touch it without it. Look at her. I know, ain't she big? Anyway, y'all, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Not going to talk about this anymore today. I'm going to get some rest because I've been going and going and going since I got up this morning. And it's now 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm going to go. But how do you reverse a Bible curse? You reverse a Bible curse the same way you reverse anything else. In fact, they've been using that Bible to bind us and to do all kind of stuff. And it sucks because especially when you're not bothering them. That's what irritates me is that they do a lot of unnecessary things. Because they feel like, well, you're a witch. Why should you prosper upon the earth? Well, I could ask you the same damn thing. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. I hope that I was able to help somebody. Make sure that y'all thumbs up and that y'all subscribe to this channel. And I will be seeing y'all later. I might be on TikTok a little bit later. I'm going to sit here and watch a movie. I'll see y'all later. Blessings. Bye-bye.